I was like, partially hydrogenated soybean oil in powder. It's like, how do they do that? So I told my daughter, I said, Jen, we're going to make our own mix. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, we're going to make the best in the world.
Welcome, guys, TimForrest.com, and I'm with Dean Packingham, who's created Mike and Jen's hot cocoa. How in the world do you want to share how you got started with this? Because I know you didn't start off to be a cocoa person. That's not your origins or your beginnings. But I'm just curious how you got started with Mike and Jen's.
Absolutely. Well, it was a hobby at first. It was kind of a happenstance thing that happened. My daughter, who was 9 at the time, so this is about 10 years ago, she would come in every day and from playing in the snow, take off all her wet winter clothing and ask for hot cocoa. And so a single dad, I was going through hot cocoa like you would not believe. And finally I got one of the huge industrial club-sized containers of a big brand, and I looked at the back of it and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, partially hydrogenated soybean oil in powder. It's like, how do they do that? So I told my daughter, I said, Jen, we're going to make our own mix. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, we're going to make the best in the world. And that's how it started.
I love that. Make the best in the world. How do you make the best in the world cocoa mix?
Well, first of all, I think you have to be a little OCD, which I kind of discovered in the process that I probably was. And so because I told her I was going to try to make the best in the world, and I was going to try to fix all the issues that I had ever noticed with cocoa products on the shelf, which was I didn't like the water-based mixes. Yet I wanted them to be really portable, and you can bring them camping, you can bring to the office, or the kids can actually just take some warm tap water and mix it up themselves really easily. I wanted something rich and creamy, and I knew there had to be a way to do that. It entailed spending a year of my life off in my spare time, as I needed to focus, and it was wonderful. We tried so many milk powders, we tried so many cocoa powders, and we have probably 500-600 different iterations that we tried, trying to perfect hot cocoa for our family. So that was all just really for our family.
So you went through over 500 different iterations.
Yes.
That's incredible. So many people, like a lot of the products that I work with, they've gone through 500. They've literally gone through thousands of iterations.
Absolutely.
And so many people in the food business think, well, I'm going to create this product, and they're like 3 or 4 versions in, and they think, oh, we've got it, and we can go forward. But I mean, you pushed it not past 100, not past 200, but 500 different versions. That's awesome.
Thank you. So being as I found out OCD, I had to rule everything out. So I ordered every single cocoa powder I could find online. And then I really found out, not being a food scientist, I found out there's a lot of difference in cocoa powder.
Those 500 versions that you were working with on the recipes, that was for your family? That was what you were thinking?
Yeah. Oh, it was, at that time, we were going to do it as a fundraiser for cancer research because their grandfather was going through chemotherapy and stuff. Yeah. So we were going to make a bunch of it, and we were going to, give it out at first, to friends and family. And we had all that. They probably all got very sick of trying samples, and then we were going to sell it, and all the proceeds were going to go to the Cancer Society for Christmas. I really wanted a perfect product for that.
How did it become a product for store? Because I think you started in one store that you're in currently from your post.
Did.
So that first store, how did that store happen? Because that's different from the cancer. Was it a Cancer Society store, or what were you thinking?
No. So that first season we did it. I think we did 100 pounds or something. We sold it basically to family and friends, and they were all, glowing about the product. But their family and friends have to say that.
Did they pay for it? Did they pay for it, or did you give it to them?
Once we did that fundraiser and did a donation to the Cancer Society, that's when we had to pay for it, and we did put all proceeds to it. So
Okay, did any of those people buy it a second time or want it second time from you? They're like, we want more of this.
they did, and then by happenstance, we got onto that one store shelf in Duluth, Minnesota, and I had no idea I was talking to the owner of the store, which is a very successful gourmet kitchen store. And I had no idea that she was the owner. There were several people working in there. And I was just telling her my story about my crazy, adventure to try and perfect hot cocoa. And she asked if I would bring some in for her to try because she was intrigued by it.
Yep.
And from there, she said, would you ever put this on the shelves? Because I'm in love with it. And she walked me through kind of how to do that with the State Department of Agriculture and stuff. And she ordered 6 bags, and that was, I think, the goal at the time, to go in and see that product on the shelf with the kids. And it was amazing.
Wow. So that first store, how long were you just in one store? How many weeks, months, what period of time?
Sure. So that was before Christmas in 2013, and
Great.
I realized. Then I thought, well, let's see if I can, maybe get it in a few other stores.
Well, wait, yeah.
Yeah.
How long was that though? How long a period of time was that where you were just in one store?
It was about 2 months. Max.
So 2 months in one store.
Yeah.
Okay, 8 weeks. Do you remember like your best sales week of those 8 weeks? The number of units or the volume?
Sure. Well, we did those 6 bags, which she initially ordered, and she called back like 3 days later.
Okay, so those 6 bags were gone in 3 days.
Right.
So that's really important. What's the retail value of what was she selling those 6 bags for?
At the time, we had a slightly larger product. It was a 1 pound bag, and it was $13.
1 pound bag, $13.95.
Yep.
Okay, let's just say 14. Okay, 67. Okay, I just want to highlight this fact, how important this is. Okay, you just said half a week sales were $84 in your local store. Is that right? $84 for half a week sales. If we doubled it and you had enough product, she should have sold about $160
In a week.
in a week. So I wanted to share with one of my secret numbers, and I call it a hurdle. If I ever bump into a product that sells $150 in one store, that's a home run. That's an item that I know that I can work with and can do incredibly well with. I've only run into a few items. Very few items are people that I run to understand this number. So one store, $168 is what you would do, is what you're doing in that store.
That's fascinating.
And people don't understand. If you compare that, how many average supermarkets would it take with an average item to get $164 in sales, Dean? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't know.
That's worth about 16 stores.
Oh my gosh.
And so you've just demonstrated that value that's just so incredible for people. And when I see that, it's just so exciting. And so I'm just excited. And I mean, this was 10 years ago. You already know so much more of the story, but I just want to point that out for anyone that's hearing it. And so we were just talking about you were doing over $150 a week in sales in one store, just one local store, not a big store. And so you did that for about 2 months, and then you decided to go to other stores. What happened there? So how did you go to other stores? Did you just walk in? What happened?
Well, so by happenstance,
with a retail price of $13.95 when you started as well.
That's correct. Yes. Then I got a little bit of confidence that maybe other store owners in the area might want this, and I thought it would be fun to have it be a local product that's in several stores, and I was very conscious to not cannibalize people in her general area. And I went into a few stores and I realized I don't like cold calling. Like I had one person, she just basically slammed the door in my face, and I was like, okay, I'm done cold calling. I think I'm good with this one store. But then, by chance, other store owners in the area saw the product at her store and reached out and asked if they could carry it.
So you stopped soliciting. So you stopped soliciting business, and because of your success at one retailer, other retailers started contacting you.
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, that part of the story is awesome. I mean, it's incredible. Okay, so then what happened? They called. So you went into them, and how did it go? Where did it go from there?
Right. So as of we really slowly grew the brand, basically going to winter shows, boutique shows. At our local arena in town here, they have a bunch of vendors from the local community come out and have booths and tables, and it's a huge deal.
2018, you did all your sales in Duluth, Minnesota. What were your sales?
We did about 30,000 in sales.
Awesome. And what's the population of Duluth?
It's about 85,000.
85,000. Great.
Yeah, and it's because we're only a couple-hour drive from Minneapolis, St. Paul. We have a lot of tourists. Duluth is probably the biggest tourist visited location in Minnesota.
If people wanted to find out, we're talking about your cocoa. If people wanted to find your cocoa or find you, you want to share a website or a LinkedIn address or anything like that? I know we just jumped into this conversation. I was so excited to talk to you, but I wanted to introduce you also.
Thank you. Yes. So our website is mikeandjens.com. So MikeandJens.com. So I actually named it after my two kids because I had to quickly come up with a name, and because I was trying to create this legacy brand, it worked for Ben and Jerry, so I'm going to name it after my two kids.
Oh, that's great. And then who is your partner? I know you have an incredible partner in the business. Is very analytical and Miss Spreadsheet.
Yes. She is amazing, and her name is Amanda Cunningham, and she has been my best friend for 20 years. We used to be meteorologists at the National Weather Service together, so we say that we're always forecasting, but this doesn't leave as much margin for error as meteorology.
Thank you for joining me here on our food growth journey. There's so much temptation for you to be boring, dull, and employed. I'm so glad that you're here and staying true to your dream of growing your food business. Let's get into it. TimForrest.com.